Hello, NAEA family. Welcome to the 2025-2026 Board of Directors Nominee Forum. During our time together, you will have the opportunity to get to know our nominees even better. Now, you do have access to their bios on the NAEA website, but this will give you the opportunity to see some of the things that they are most passionate about. Before we get to it, if you don't already know me, my name is Timalyn Bowens, and I had the honor of serving on the nominating committee. During this process with the nominations, first, I want to thank you, the members of NAEA, for nominating your peers who you thought would be best to carry forward the strategic vision of NAEA. Next, I would like to thank our nominees for being here and accepting the nomination and applying. Throughout this process, these nominees not only showed their leadership in NAEA and other organizations, but they went through applications, they gave us references, and also interviews. I wasn't on the nominating committee myself, so if you're not familiar with the process, I will share what the nominating committee does. The nominating committee is responsible for identifying, recruiting, and nominating qualified candidates for leadership positions within NAEA, such as the board of directors or executive committee. It assesses the needs and priorities of the association, identifies potential candidates with the necessary skills and experience, solicits nominations from members, evaluates candidates' qualifications, and presents a slate of nominees for election or appointment in accordance with the NAEA's bylaws and governance procedures. And those nominees are who I'm going to introduce you to tonight. So in this forum, we have two people running for officer positions. We have Ed Ryan, who will be running for treasurer. Then we also have Emily Apria, who will be running for president-elect. The next nominees will be running for director positions. We have Ann Burgess, Danny Lynn Murphy, David Ganaway, Jeffrey Thompson, Kathleen Roden, Lauren Hagood, Leslie Castile, and Tyrone Taylor. During this time, I'm going to ask each of the candidates, starting with Ed Ryan, to please give us a 60-second introduction of yourself.
Hello, everyone. This is Ed Ryan. I am from Rutherford, New Jersey, which is northern New Jersey, right outside Manhattan, near the Meadowlands. Okay, I'm an EA. I own Ryan Financial, which my firm does about 1,200 individual tax returns, as well as having a large wealth management practice. Thank you, Timalyn.
Hi, I'm Emily Apria. I am running for president-elect. I am an EA. I've been an EA since 1991. I joined NAEA in 2012. I also have served, I'm currently a director at NAEA, and I have served as the president of the New Jersey Society of Enrolled Agents, as well as on the board and governance. I was the chair of the board and governance committee for NAEA as well. I have a very small practice that I operate out of my home, and I have a full-time job that I am retiring from very soon in the nonprofit sector.
Hi, I'm Ann Burgess. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I work for In or Out Tax Service. I became an EA in 2013. I have been an EA since then. I have been serving on my state board, the ORC board, since 2019, and I'm the current president. And I definitely understand the need for volunteers, and I'm really honored to be considered.
Hi, my name is Danny Lynn Murphy. I'm in Seattle, Washington. I currently serve on the board of directors and am in consideration for director again. I also serve as our board liaison to the public affairs and the DEI committees. public awareness and DEI committees, as well as the chair of the new member task force. Outside of NAEA, I am a disability accommodations program manager at Google, a seasonal tax manager at Intuit, and own my own HR-focused consultancy.
That's me. Hi, I'm Jeffrey Thompson. I'm an EA. I'm an NTPI fellow. And literally as of 2 hours ago, I am admitted to practice before the tax court bar. They took a while to send those out this year. I'm in Los Angeles. I work primarily with folks in entertainment, actors, writers, etc. And I do some acting and writing on the side. So if my face looks familiar, I might have sold you some lays at some point in the past.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathleen Roden. I am an EA in Cocoa, Florida. In 2015, I will be celebrating my 10th year as an EA. And I contract out with local CPA firms to give, year-round help, as well as I do financial analysis for a legal software firm.
Hey everybody, I'm Lauren Hagwood. Like Kathleen, I'm in Florida, but I'm actually a California native. I spent first 40-something years of my life out there and made a move to the other coast about 5 years ago. I spent the first half of my career running a heavy equipment company in San Diego. So that's where I started in like bookkeeping and doing payroll and finding a real niche there. I worked in 3 small CPA and EA practices. In the last 15 years, I've actually spent it into it. Half of my career was a business analyst. It's called a filing product analyst. We actually work between the tax space and the government agencies. The second half I've spent as a government liaison. So I technically sit on the global corporate affairs and public policy team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tyrone Taylor. I reside out of Nashville, Tennessee. Like Lauren, I'm also a transplant of California. I have been an enrolled agent as of Wednesday for 11 years. I've been in the tax industry for 18 years. I'm also an NTPI fellow. I currently I am the founder of a continuing education organization called ProTax Education. I also have my own firm, Taylor Tax and Financial Consulting. I primarily work in the space of tax representation. That's my main space, and I love educating tax professionals about tax representation. And so that's me.
Hello, I'm David Ganaway. I'm a veteran from the IRS with 20 years, where I was a revenue agent and special agent, and which brought me into where I'm located now in New Jersey. So I've been an enrolled agent since 2007, and I currently work at a regional accounting firm called Peterson. I'm in the litigation support and work in the IRS tax controversy space. So for the last 3 years, I've been in the Government Relations Committee, along with the Political Action Committee with the enrolled agents. So I'm very happy to be considered for this board position and look forward to working with my colleagues.
Thank you, everyone, for those wonderful introductions. We are going to go ahead and go to the question portion of this forum. And Ed, we are going to start it off with you. But just as a gentle reminder for everyone, you have about 2 minutes to answer your question. So Ed, what qualities do you bring to the role of treasurer that are needed? You are muted, Ed. So we won't count that time against you.
Thank you, Timalyn. Prior to me opening my full-time practice in 1997, I got my experience working in the corporate world as controller of a property casualty insurance company. So that gave me the background in financial statements and cash flow management that I think is so important in this position. Okay. I'm the current treasurer, and during these past few years, along with Meg Killian, I've helped strengthen the balance sheet of the organization. And so that all came from the skills I learned in the corporate world. Thank you, Timalyn.
Thank you so much, Ed. Our next question is going to be for Emily Apria. Emily, what is your vision of NAEA and how will your leadership help achieve that vision?
Thanks, Timalyn. I would like to see NAEA be the organization that enrolled agents can go to ensure that they have everything that they need in order to do their jobs well, to interact well with the IRS and with other state agencies. I think the most important thing for NAEA right now is public awareness and advocacy. And I think it's important because I find that there are so many times when even the IRS and the state agencies don't know who we are. And they don't talk about enrolled agents, they don't include enrolled agents. And so I think it's really important that we work collaboratively with the IRS, with our state taxation agencies as well, to get the word out. We need the public to know who we are so they can reach out to us to, build our business. But we also need our stakeholders to know who we are, and we need to work together with them to ensure that they are putting us on the same plane as some of the other professionals in the tax field. I think it's very important that that NAEA listen to the members, engage the members, reach them where they are today. And I think that we need to do that through many means of communication, as many ways as we can to reach out to people. But ultimately, I think what we really need to work on is ensuring everybody knows who we are and that we are America's tax experts. Thanks.
Thank you, Emily. So our next question is for Anne. Anne, what steps would you take to foster collaboration between NAEA and its affiliates and chapters?
Well, I have strong feelings about this because, the decision was made at National to make these changes. And I feel it's very important then that National helps check in with states so that states remaining affiliates are taking on the new responsibilities that they need to take on. And states that are dropping down to chapter, we need to really make sure that we can ease the way for them to make sure that they've taken care of all their responsibilities. And we also don't want them to sort of feel like second-class members of NAEA where they might feel like their state is more forgotten. So we really need to stay in contact with those places. And so that's where I'd start, is just making sure that transition is going smoothly for everyone, that they feel like they know, what their state's doing, where their place is, and that NAEA is still there to listen to them.
Wonderful, thank you. Our next question is for Danny Lynn. So Danny Lynn, as an NAEA leader, how would you communicate the value of NAEA to new members to encourage second-year renewal?
Thank you so much, Timalyn. This is a big topic for me. The second year of membership renewal is the most critical to associations for members' growth. Studies show that we can gain new members, but that retention at that second year mark is really make or break for long-term sustained growth. And when an association is seeing a drop-off in membership renewal rates at that second year, it often indicates, directly to what you've said, Timalyn, a direct correlation to the perceived value. So to address these challenges, I would ensure that new members are all aware of the value through an expansion of the resources for new members page on the NAEA website. It's linked there. We share it with our new members, but continuing to share that out multiple different ways and encouraging the development of a campaign so that we're not just sharing these resources once, but multiple times over the course of that first year as a reminder of all of the benefits, CEs, and everything that new members have access to. But beyond communicating the value, it's also about developing relationships. It's hard to exit an organization when you've developed relationships with its members. So ensuring that we are creating opportunities for those connections to be founded through perhaps a mentorship offering, connecting new and established EAs within NAEA on a formal basis and on a one-on-one basis. Board of Director member Julie Harvey does a phenomenal effort of this that could be extrapolated, furthering the work of the new member task force and ensuring that our education offerings are relevant to all EA practice types as well. So to shorten it up, making sure that folks are crystal clear on the value of NAEA and ensuring that they're creating connections within this organization.
Absolutely. Thank you. Our next question is for David. So, David, after serving on government relations and PAC, how do you feel we can strengthen our government relations?
Well, thank you, Timalyn. We can strengthen the Government Relations Committee by working with our lobbying firm to identify the key House and Ways Committee members to visit in their home districts beyond the annual Washington, D.C. fly-in. Working with our EAs across the U.S., which are constituents of these lawmakers, we can schedule semi-annual meetings to educate them about who we are, what services we provide, and explain the NAEA kind of key policy priorities that impact taxpayers and also, has a positive change, and we can recommend positive change to the IRS for the benefit of us as enrolled agents, along with the clients and the taxpayers that we service.
Thank you very much. And thank you for your work that you do with PAC. Our next question is for Jeffrey. So Jeffrey, you are newer to NAEA. So kind of a two-part question. What are you passionate about as a young EA and newer member? And what inspired you to serve as an NAEA director?
Yeah, so the two things I'm passionate about are kind of like self-care and mental health as well as combating misinformation. I think that, well, I know for a fact that accounting professions have very high burnout rates. You hear stories about people passing out at their desk, working long hours. This is the first year in my career that I didn't get sick either during tax season or immediately after tax season. I still have December to get sick, we'll see. And so I think talking about ways of making our profession survivable and having good ways of, especially for people who are coming into it, we don't want to lose people. Misinformation is an issue that we're dealing with more and more. So being able to fight all the TikToks and Instagrams that we're getting, fraud is increasing, and being able to, as a community, protect our clients because they are vulnerable and they depend on us for that. I wanted to serve just because I liked helping out. I don't mean to quote taken, but I do have a very particular set of skills. Usually I'm the finance person on a board, but when you're surrounded by accountants, you don't need somebody to do just that. But hopefully my experience in other fields provides some value.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Our next question is for Kathleen. So Kathleen, as an NAEA leader, what would you do to encourage more people to join the organization and get involved?
Thank you, Timalyn. So as a leader, I think first I would try to be as fully engaged with NAEA as possible, so I can clearly understand and communicate our mission and values and what it is that we do here and what we bring. I'd also participate in outreach and networking events to help educate the EA community what the NAEA has to offer our professional. To articulate that our strong vision and our purpose, our mission, and our goals, and what impact that we can have on the EA profession. I would reference success stories, significant like contributions for promoting the EA designation. And I think I would also typically like to highlight the diversity and the inclusion in our group, and that it's a commitment to our organization, because I think that's important, definitely in today's society. And then I think lastly, I would promote the positive culture that we have here at NAEA, how members are meant to feel valued, respected, and how NAEA brings opportunities for learning and growth. That would be my plan.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Our next question is for Lauren. So, Lauren, what suggestions do you have for growing awareness around the EA credential?
So this is an interesting one for me. Some of the folks on this call have mentioned, particularly with the IRS or states, that like folks may not know what it is. And just coming full circle, it's something I actually didn't say in my intro. I started working at Intuit 15 years ago. The team that I was on had a lot of CPAs and not a lot of EAs. I didn't know what it was. I was an analyst at the time, right? So I really wasn't doing tax per se, it was development work. So I looked into it. I went to my leadership and I said, I want to do this thing. I want to be an AA. And he looked at me like I was crazy. What is that? So there's become a lot more awareness, clearly, in the entire, but there's a long way to go. And it feels like such a diverse opportunity. You can do a lot with this. So for awareness, for me, I think young, early education, schools. I think that, but I do feel like you're already doing quite a bit of that. So I would just say expanding upon those early touch opportunities, and also real life people, right? Bring somebody in that says, hey, this is my story. This is why I became an enrolled agent. This is why it's working well for me. And here's why you should consider it. Thanks, Timalyn.
No, thank you, Lauren. So our next question is going to be for Tyrone. So Tyrone, as a member of the NAEA Board of Directors, how would you encourage people to get involved? And you are muted.
Sorry about that. And my mouse didn't want to work. As a member of the, or as a member or board member of NAEA, it's very important that we address that enrolled agents, again, aren't well known. And those of us that are enrolled agents, we have to get involved in order for our profession to not die. And that's, unfortunately, there's not a lot of people who are becoming enrolled agents. And so one of the things that we need to focus upon is those enrolled agents who are not a part of NAEA to get involved. And secondly, show them the benefits of becoming a member of NAEA. I think that's part of the issue as far as NAEA is they aren't aware of the multiple opportunities for education. We offer, up to 40 free CEs per year. There's lots of benefits that we offer as far as software, discounts on software, discounts on travel and mentorship. We also there's just a lot of opportunity for collaboration as well, and I think that's one of the things that the organization should focus on, is bringing on those of us that have been enrolled agents for a long period of time, and gathering our knowledge and passing that on to younger people who might want to be involved and learn about becoming an EA. That's the other thing that my focus is upon is basically looking at those tax preparers or those tax professionals that are not enrolled agents, that are not Circular 230, and drawing them into to this profession, and showing them what the benefits are. So That's what I would say is focused on, both those people who are enrolled agents who are not a part of NAEA, showing them the benefits, and then showing those tax professionals that aren't. And I say do it via social media. That's how you get young people involved. So that was what I'd say is my answer to that question.
Well, thank you for that answer. And thank you, everyone. We made it through round one, so you can take a deep breath. So everyone else will receive, or not everyone else, but everyone will receive one more question. Just as a reminder, you have 2 minutes to answer the question. And the first person to go in round two will be Danny Lynn. So, Danny Lynn, what is your vision for how NAEA can support its younger members and its more seasoned members as we continue to grow?
Thank you, Timalyn. Our future within NAEA requires a balance. It requires the honoring of the tradition and the legacy of NAEA's membership and accomplishments and engagement and involvement to date, as well as an expansion of what that looks like to continue to attract and retain those younger members or those who are new to the profession, whether they fit in both of those categories or only one. We want to attract both of those types of individuals. So as I mentioned in my introduction, I currently lead the newly established new member task force, which focuses on both of those cohorts, both new to the profession and young in age, but also new to the profession. And we're specifically working on developing and recommending strategies to engage these individuals and expanding that work across NAEA as a whole, investing into the membership committee, investing into the leadership development committee to nurture succession planning, investing in the way that we navigate a lot of the different work that we do. What does Summit look like? What do our educational opportunities look like to ensure that we're meeting the needs of both of these cohorts? Our seasoned members with that tenure, that history that deserves to be honored, and they deserve to have a space within NAEA that they feel at home as well, while also looking to the future and ensuring we can bring those folks in. So that might sound like a lot of platitudes and a lot of celebratory, forward-thinking, large and nebulous thought, but what it really comes down to is treating each of those two cohorts, our seasoned members and our new members, as equally important, and ensuring that everything we develop moving forward meets the needs of both of those cohorts equally.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Our next question is going to be for Lauren. Lauren, what qualities do you bring to the NAEA board that are needed?
Thanks, Timalyn. I was hoping for this one, so thank you. I took a little different approach because as I was thinking about how to answer this, so many folks don't know me here, right? I am newer to the organization, and my first real big engagement was at the fly-in, and I had an amazing time. And that's how I ended up landing here, was after the fly-in. And so I took the approach of ask others that I've worked with, how would they answer on my behalf? What would they tell you about me? So this was fun. I asked somebody who works in government what she thought. She said thought leadership, active engagement, and a co-creative spirit. I asked my current boss how he would answer, and my former boss. Current boss said diplomacy, industry and IRS relations, and strategic thinking. My old boss said passion, change, and action. And then he doubled down and used, we have an internal tool for artificial intelligence, right? And used like generative AI. And this is what generative AI says about me. Lauren's passion for tax advocacy has motivated her to join the board of directors for NAEA, where she aims to be a catalyst for change. That one, I mean, that feels a lot to begin with. Her readiness to take action will surely advance the organization's goals and uphold the standards of enrolled agents nationwide. And then lastly, I asked my partner, in life. He said organized and leadership. So clearly, you know, like who's running the house around here, organizational leadership. So that's my answer on what folks that I hold very dear to me said about me. Thank you.
You are welcome, and thank you for sharing those different perspectives with us. So now we're going to move over to Anne. And Anne, this question for you, how do you envision encouraging NAEA members to get more involved?
That is a great question, and it's definitely something I've struggled with even in my own state, getting people involved. And I think part of it is the new member things, or the reminding people that NAEA does provide tools and resources and collaboration for people. And I do think that what was said before about building connection, right? Once you know people in the organization, people specialize in a certain area or are from a state where maybe you're having a difficult time reconciling something. If you know you can contact that person, right? It's a great feeling just to be like, oh, I have somebody I trust who I can go to and ask a question. So I think we really need to be finding ways to sort of cross-pollinate across states and parts of the country to help people meet each other and share their stories and their difficulties. And, maybe somebody has a solution or things that they've tried or things that they tried that did not work at all. But I think the more that we can get people to connect, the better. In terms of that. And yeah, I think there's some opportunity too in that, we know that there's going to be some tax law changes happening over the next year. And so there's a real opportunity for NAEAs to sort of lead the way in getting information out there and helping educate people on what's coming and the impacts that it could have, right? We know this is coming. And so it's a great place where we can devote our energy to really show people the value of our organization.
Thank you so much, Anne. That was a little of a difficult question, if I say so myself. So we're going to go back to Ed, who again, remember, he's running for treasurer. Ed, how can board members best facilitate the work of the committees?
Thank you, Timalyn. Well, again, when I've been on, this is my third year on the board, second year as treasurer. And so being on the board is always about being a leader. Okay, so I am, all about leading on the board, not being the committee. So the board has to refrain from being doing committee work at board meetings and letting the committees do their work and lead. I'm going to steal something that Lauren just said that I really liked: passion, change, and action. Okay, those three words really, Lauren, that could have been about me. So we're on the board here. We're here to lead. So I have a passion to lead, not to be the committee member in every committee. Okay, change. We have to change some things. Okay, we've all talked about the awareness in the community. Okay, and how can we be aware, make more awareness in the professional community as well as the public community. Okay, we have to affect change on that. I got involved in the New Jersey Board of Directors, about 10, 12 years ago. And that was because I was running a successful business, but I was not involved in the EA community. And so I challenged myself to go do it. So I went there. So to do that, I made a commitment that we're going to put out change. Okay, change to make people aware in the professional community, be a leader. Okay, the EA needs to be a leader, not a second-class citizen. And so that takes work to become that. Okay, and I'll use two examples. One was back in New Jersey when I was on the board, and we formed a committee and we let the committee do it. New Jersey has inheritance tax returns that only CPAs and attorneys were allowed to do. We lobbied the legislature in New Jersey, the committee did, and the committee got the law changed. So we had a passion about it. We did the change via the action. And that's currently what's even going on as we sit here today, because our communities don't know who we are as well as they should. Okay. And that's why, as the board members, we need to lead, let committees go do their things and support them. But currently, today, our EVP Meg Killian sent us some work that committees have been doing where the USDA, which is the Department of Agriculture, okay, there's a form that farmers need to complete to certify their income to do certain things. Okay. CPAs and attorneys only allow people to do them. Okay. Got 5 senators to sign the letter sending to the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture advocating that EAs do this. These are the things we need to do. And that requires the board leading, okay, letting committees do things, but being at the top of the leading and the strategic planning for us to go forward. But ultimately, it's about passion, change, and action. Lauren, thank you for saying that earlier. I'm a big fan of that. Thank you, Timalyn.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you for being here to share your passion about the designation with us as members of NAEA. So our next question is going to go to Tyrone. So Tyrone, how would you, as a member of the NAEA board, help shift the culture to align with our 3-year core focus areas?
Well, thank you for that question. Just to educate everyone as far as what those cores are, the first one is membership engagement, which I mean, I think some of us have already kind of discussed that we need to get our members more involved. We need to let them know about the different committees that exist, for example, doing fly-ins and lobbying, and basically encouraging new membership. And that's what I would do from the very beginning. New EAs and current EAs that they need to join NAEA immediately. And that's basically, I've been doing that kind of unofficially for years, even before I was on the board. I'll encourage and continue to encourage them to do so and taking advantage of what NAEA has, and also get involved with NAEA through joining local and national organizations that are related to us, like NATP, and there are other organizations that we need to solicit for new membership. Advocacy, I always believe in advocacy as far as bringing in new members by just letting them know what we offer. I was fortunately enough in the last couple of days to be approached by some tax professionals that told me that I encouraged them to apply for the scholarship program, and they actually obtained it, and the other one got a free year membership. And so that kind of made me feel good, because that's something that's not just something I need to do. That's something all of us need to encourage, non-members, that, these type of things exist. And finally, and the last thing is EA awareness, which again, we've all talked about. I personally believe that there are too many tax professionals that don't know what an enrolled agent is. And that's not just the public. It's how can we say that we want the public to know if tax professionals don't know what an enrolled agent is? So it's our job as board members to get out there, social media, regular media, whatever it takes to let people know, let tax professionals know that we are here. We are a resource. We know the laws. That's primarily what we're about. We need to educate them about tax representation, so they're not being taken advantage of by, I'm not going to say any organization name, but we know that there is an issue within that realm where people are being taken advantage of. So that's, as the leaders within tax representation, and that's my niche. It's up to us to educate not only the public, but also other tax professionals. We should be that resource when people have issues with the IRS and need representation.
Thank you, Tyrone. Our next question, we're going to go down to Florida. Kathleen, how would your previous leadership experience at the local and state level in Florida help you as a director on the NAEA board?
Thanks, Timalyn. Okay, so I was thinking about this in my EA experience, leadership experience in Florida. I've served multiple terms as a secretary, and then on my local level, I've served as both secretary and treasurer. So I've learned many things that can benefit me in my efforts, I think, as an NAEA director. First thing I've learned is that leadership is hard. It's a commitment and it's really not to be taken lightly. It's not something that you can just say, yeah, I can do this and blow those things off. You've got to be there, you got to be present. And then you also have to recognize that not all leaders and leadership styles are the same. So there's personalities that can take over, cause dissension on a team. So I believe a good director can try to steer the group back to positive and a productive conversation, um, and help work around those leadership styles. So self-awareness of not only my own but other strengths and weaknesses helps develop a team's effectiveness. And like I said, if you know who is what your colleagues' strengths and weaknesses are, you can help develop good team strategies, but you also do have to be aware of your own strengths and weaknesses and be honest about them. I think it's important to be present, communicate clearly, and be open to the feedback of the group. You can't be, can't have hurt feelings if somebody's just trying to, bring something out to you. And then you need to be honest. You need to have empathy and be sympathetic, but you also have to remember to be strong, because good leadership is a balance between both ends of the spectrum. And so I think that my time serving in Florida in the different ways that I've worked with them has really strengthened my leadership style and goals and acceptance of other leaders. And I think that's what it helps me bring. Thanks, Timalyn.
Thank you, Kathleen, so much for that answer. Next, we are going to go to Emily. Emily, how can NAEA and the board nurture its relationship with affiliates?
Thanks, Timalyn. I think that's a really important question in this year and in the coming years as we go through this process of what does it mean to be an affiliate? What does it mean to be a chapter? How are we going to work together collaboratively? I do have a very collaborative leadership style. I work really well with everyone, even when there are disagreements. And I think that that's really important. And one of the things that I think is most important is ensuring that we maintain communication with the affiliates and find and meet them where they're at and help them and provide the resources that they need to be successful and share information, share knowledge, share resources together so that the affiliates can be stronger and NAEA can be stronger, and we can all work well together to help build a better organization for everyone. I think that one of the most important things is to be out there, to attend affiliate events, to get to know affiliates, to hold town halls, to do surveys, whatever's the method of communication that is going to work best. But I think we try many different ones to figure out how can we ensure that we hear from everybody, that everybody feels that they have been heard, that they have a seat at the table, and that their voice will be heard and will be responded to. And I think that growing the affiliates and growing is going to also grow NAEA. And I think we can work together in concert to have the strongest affiliates and the strongest organization that we possibly can.
Thank you, Emily, for that answer and sharing with us. Next, we are going to go back to Jeffrey. Jeffrey, how can NAEA ensure that its things, benefits, programs are accessible to different types of members?
Yeah, so I know that Danny has been doing a lot of great work in this area, so just props over to you. I think DIA work is really difficult because it's not an endpoint. It's very similar to our continuing education. There's never a point where we're like, okay, we've learned everything and we've done everything to make sure that our firms are operating and that we don't have to learn anything else. So, it's a constant thing of finding where your limited resources can serve. I think the most important thing is to take an inventory of the needs of the people in the group. We might not think about the fact that, a majority of our members might have vision impairment, so our website might not be accessible. Or we might all think that we have perfect hearing, but might not realize that subtitles for our continuing education might be very helpful. And once we do one thing, the work is never done. So the hard thing is that we need to have systems in place to assess what is needed, then also make sure that the things that we have started to work on are being effective, and then continue to identify things as we go on, because the conversation will also continue to evolve as we gain more awareness and empathy towards groups that have been kind of excluded by our lack of accessibility.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Mhm.
And then our next question is going to be for David. David, what can NAEA do to promote our credentials as more beneficial for sole proprietors?
Okay, great. Well, thank you for the question. One of the things I looked at was the 2024 NAEA survey, which says 80% of our members are sole proprietors, with 77% of them preparing individual income tax returns. And so with Google being the main search engine that everyone uses, I'd like to learn from and work with our, NAEA staff in the social media to promote, and can we link like the NAEA organization and our own credentials to these common search engines and the results that come from it. Because when I was doing the basic search, one of the first things when I typed in there was basically some of the IRS videos. And those were official IRS videos. And the first thing that they list were, there was CPAs, attorneys, and enrolled agents. And if you take that information and then you follow it up with the next link that I was able to see was the Directory of Federal Tax Return Preparers. And within that link, it also refers to attorneys, CPAs, and enrolled agents. And so when you click on that enrolled agent, it tells the person that's doing the Googling that we're enrolled agents licensed by the IRS, and we have full opportunity to be a preparer. We're fully licensed. We have continuing education requirements. There's background checks on us, along with the information about how we're authorized to represent taxpayers before the IRS. So I think linking those and then putting those in place and working with our members, enrolled agents, out there across the country to make sure that those links are also on their websites as well, so that we can do kind of the maximization and optimization of being able to put these links together so that people will be able to identify us and make aware what an enrolled agent is. I think everyone on the panel here has spoken about that. I know that that's one of our strategic goals, is how do we improve EA awareness? And I think that credibility that comes along with the IRS and those videos, and them telling people and giving the education to people that there's enrolled agents out there that are licensed by the IRS. One of the things that I also looked at was one of our competing organizations that there are also enrolled agents that are members of. They have a link on their website. The very first thing is about, and it has a link to, in the second block, has the link to the Directory of Federal tax return for the practitioners for the tax returns there. And if you click that link, that takes you to the enrolled agent. So there's another organization that's doing that. And I think we should maybe consider being able to include that on our own website so that people can then, once they find NAEA, that they can see that will give them a link to what an enrolled agent is, also giving credibility with the IRS. And one of the last things that I would like to mention is that I've been honored to be selected to join the IRS Commissioners Advisory Council starting in 2025 for a 3-year term. And so at that point in time, I'm going to be, working with other people on the council and so forth. I'm going to make every effort that I can to enhance the enrolled agent credential and also be supporting NAEA and the members in front of the IRS, in front of the IRS Advisory Council. So that's something I'm very proud of and look forward to working on that council to help facilitate the awareness of enrolled agents and how we meet a certain criteria or a certain section of income tax, taxpayers. So thank you, Timalyn.
Thank you, David, for sharing your research with us and your insights as well. At this time, we are going to give all of the candidates 60 seconds to give us last remarks. And don't everybody try to go first and at once. I will say who is going next, and we are going to start with those running for director positions and then finish up with those running for the officer positions. So first up with closing remarks, remember to keep them at 60 seconds. We have Tyrone Taylor.
Remember to unmute myself this time. Real briefly, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity of being a part of this forum. I look forward to becoming a board member and serving the EA community. Basically, I'm looking to look into alternative ways of introducing what we do to alternative populations through social media, through discussing NAEA and enrolled agents with those who traditionally were not aware that we even exist. I can tell you personally, it took me about 5 years to be in the tax business before I even knew what an enrolled agent is. And I think that that's a serious issue. And that's one of the reasons that, we have an issue with the enrolled agent population not increasing. So that'll be my goal, is to, again, use social media and other resources to both expand our membership and expand the number of enrolled agents that exist. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tyrone, for being here this evening. Next, we have Lauren Hagwood.
Thanks, Timalyn. So first of all, thank you. This was a bit of an unexpected and very welcome opportunity for me. I'm pretty new to this organization. Admittedly, when I wrote my bio, it said keep it brief. So I kept it really brief, and there's not a whole list of some of the things that I've done. And so maybe if I could just wrap with a few of those. Much of my time right now is spent in the anti-fraud and anti-scam and scheme place. And I think, Jeffrey, you're the one that mentioned it about helping folks really understand how many bad guys are out there and what's happening in the ecosystem. I sat on the team that created the beloved Form 5708, which is the Written Information Security Plan, Creating Your WISP, and was part of creating the curriculum that was at the IRS forums. So much of the work that I do touches policy a bit, but I work post-policy, how it impacts the tax pros, how it impacts products as we're developing. And so the skills that I bring to this board potentially are a little bit different because of the space that I work in. And so I just wanted to close with that for a little bit of awareness and say, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. This is great.
We appreciate you jumping in and getting right to work. Next, we have Kathleen Roden.
Thank you, Timalyn. I just wanted to take a moment actually to say thank you so much. I'm honored to be nominated, and I'm honored to be included with this group, especially after learning about all of you and all what you bring, your special talents and your special achievements. I think it's a pretty impressive group of people that I'm proud to be included amongst. I've been a tax professional for over 30 years, but only an EA for 10. So that does go to say that we have got to find ways to get us out there. I think we're making strides, and I am looking forward. Have I been elected on an AEA to really help work with this group to make that happen? So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kathleen, for being here and accepting the nomination. Next, we have Jeffrey Thompson.
Truly an embarrassment of riches in this election, no matter who you vote for. Isn't it like a little nice to have like an election that isn't super stressful? Just vote for anybody. But truly, I am not concerned about the state of our group. I feel like whoever you vote for, it's okay. I won't take it personally if you don't vote for me. I'm new. I joined just because I was like, I want to become an NTPI fellow. So I've been a member for less than 6 months, so it's okay. I will be around. I just want to pay it forward because in my short time, I have been helped by so many people just from reading the forums. Claire's, Tom, and I think David, you've done some CE. Forgive me if you haven't. Your voice just sounded super familiar. But there's so much good that comes from this group, and I just want to contribute in whatever way I can. But if not on the board, I'll be back for the next election. You cannot get rid of me. I will annoy you with my support.
Well, welcome, Jeffrey. We're glad to have you as part of the NAEA family. Next, we have David Ganaway.
Okay, great. Thank you, Timalyn. And I echo my friend's comments here about how, honored to be a part of the selection and nomination here. I think we're in good hands, however the vote turns out, and I appreciate everyone's support here and being able to step up and be willing to take that next position and be a leader within the enrolled agents and the time commitment and so forth. So thank you for your contributions and that effort. What I basically think is, my years of experience of working on both sides of the aisle, I think is a real benefit from our enrolled agents, which that's what I've been doing now for the last 17 years. And so really look to draw on the experience that I have from being on the Government Relations Committee, the Political Action Committee, and then also really speaking with and talking with members, because I think that's our role. Is obviously the leadership, which we've heard about that, but really meeting our members where they are and seeing how that we can support them and to help them develop their practice, grow their practice. And some of the things that they have provided is the advocacy is very important. And then also the continuing education programs that we provide to them are key for their success in their business. So I want to really concentrate on how we can improve both of those for our membership, and then learn from them what it is that we can do to help improve, so we can maybe remove some roadblocks so that things can be better for them in their practice in their daily lives, and how they represent taxpayers and how they are able to carry on their business, because I think it's very important from a business development standpoint. That's really something I've worked on the last 17 years is, we talk about how you now bring in new clients, you have to find them, you have to mind it, and you have to grind it, right? And so that's something I'm really, familiar with, and I know where everybody's position is out there in the marketplace. So I really want to try to promote the enrolled agent credential to help our fellow enrolled agents to grow their practice and be well recognized in the communities so that they can best represent the taxpayers in their local communities and move things forward. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, David. Now we have Timalyn Murphy.
Thank you, Timalyn. I will start by echoing what the others have said. I'm very confident in the group of folks that we have here and confident in the direction that this group and the current board can help steer NAEA. I just want to leave you with 3 key priorities. Wherever NAEA goes after this election, keeping a focus on EA advocacy, not just at the state and national levels, but also through equipping and empowering individual enrolled agents to serve as thought leaders with their professional successes, as well as in support of the profession as a whole. Adapting education to meet new needs, both for our new EAs, ensuring that they can build practical skills and develop those mentoring relationships, but also helping all NAEA members integrate emerging technologies into their practice and ensuring that everyone has access to that. And finally, through continuing to focus on fostering a strong community within NAEA, by balancing the expertise of our seasoned professionals with the energy and fresh perspective of our new and young EAs. So if nothing else, I hope that in many ways we've echoed these three as a priority.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that reminder. Next, we have Ann Burgess.
I want to echo what everyone said. The nominating committee really did a great job. I feel like pulling these people together, I would be happy with any one of them, any one of you guys being on the committee. I just think right now NAEA is in sort of a crucial period. We've just made all these changes at the national level, and we really need to make sure that we solidify our membership and make sure that nobody feels lost or forgotten. As president of the Oregon Society, I honestly thought we were going to drop down to chapter status. And at our annual meeting, my membership today surprised me. Some people had very strong feelings and stepped up. And so we pivoted and we're staying an affiliate. But I feel like I've really looked at the question from both sides, like what would it be like to be a chapter, or what would it take to remain an affiliate? And so I feel like I have my head wrapped around sort of what states might be going through either way. And I really want to make sure that this transition goes well, because I think it's important. We don't want to alienate who's come before while we focus on also welcoming who's coming in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. And then next we have Emily Apria, and after Emily, we will have Ed Ryan.
Thanks, Timalyn. And again, I want to echo what everybody said. I think the nominating committee did a really excellent job in putting together a slate that we can be really proud of at NAEA. And I want to thank every one of you who stepped up to be nominated and accepted the nomination to be on the board. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. And I appreciate all of the commitment that you have shown. As one of those more seasoned members, I would appreciate the young voices as well. I think it's incredibly important to grow our organization. We have to reach out to those who are perhaps a little less seasoned than I am, but I appreciate those voices as well. I want to also thank the NAEA staff for getting this together, pulling together this format. I think it's incredibly important that we make sure all of the membership has the opportunity to hear from all of our candidates, because everybody did a really great job tonight. So I thank you all for that. I think moving forward, I want to ensure that we remember our strategic priorities of member engagement. I heard that from a lot of people's closing comments as well. It's really important that we reach members where they are, and whether they're in a chapter or an affiliate. We want to make sure that we are able to understand them and find out what they need, and then provide that. And in order to do that, we need to hear from many diverse voices. And moving along with the public awareness and the advocacy, I think within the next year, we are going to see some tax changes. We want to make sure that we are there and that people know to come to us to look for our guidance and our expertise. We are looking at a period of change and challenge, but also I think it's a great opportunity for us to work collaboratively within our movement, within our organization, and with our affiliates and our chapters to help our organization grow and be the best that we can be. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Emily. Go ahead, Ed.
All right, I want to say it's an honor to be nominated to my second term as treasurer. It's been a tremendous board that I've been part of. I look forward to that to continue. And my pledge, my goal is just to continue to give my passion and experience to the organization, in particular Meg Killian, who has really turned around the balance sheet of this organization. So I will just continue to help and lead and do that in the next few years as we've done in the past. And I just look forward to working with a great group going forward. Thank you.
Well, Emily took part of my speech, but I'll still repeat it. This year, serving on the nomination committee, it was not an easy task at all. I appreciate each and every one of you, like I said, taking the time to accept the nomination, going through and filling out the application and doing the interview process. But that also goes back to our members. This organization belongs to our members, and it's because of our members that each and every one of you was nominated for these positions. And now it goes back to the members again. Just as a reminder, on December 1st, you will then be able to vote for our incoming board of directors. You have from December 1st until the 15th. I would like to encourage you to go and check out the strategic vision of NAEA. Also, you can check out each one of these candidates' bios to see who you feel aligns most with the strategic vision and will do well in pushing that vision forward. As it's already been said, we have a great slate of candidates. I believe that NAEA will be in good hands, but now it's up to you, our members. So we have a wonderful slate of nominees, candidates, but you haven't had a chance to hear from them all. Due to unforeseen circumstances, everyone wasn't available for the original time when we prepared this for you. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you someone else who is running for a position as a director for our board, Leslie Castile. During this time, since we only have Leslie will introduce herself to you. We will do the Q&A, and then I'll have a few closing remarks. Leslie, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you, Timalyn. I sure appreciate it.
Right now, in 60 seconds, would you please introduce yourself to our NAEA family?
Sure. I'm Leslie Castile. I've served on the board for one full 2-year term. And I actually do the government relations committee. I'm the board liaison for the government relations. Served on several committees, bylaws and governments, nominations committee, just, of course, government relations, finance. Done had my foot in the water of a little bit of everything. I have my own tax practice that I've had since 1994. I did my NTPI fellowship, and in 2018 and in 2017, I did the Leadership Academy, SSLA. So just finished a term as the state of Tennessee president. And so here I am running for round number 2 now that I kind of know what's going on.
Well, thank you for all the service that you've already given to NAEA. I'm going to get right into the questions. So the first one that I have for you, if elected to another term on the board, what would you prioritize to ensure that NAEA stays relevant and attracts new members?
One of my biggest things that NAEA does that I absolutely love is the advocacy, portion of what we do strategically. The advocacy side, I think, is where we help all EAs, whether they're members or not, they actually benefit from our work. But doing things like going to the fly-in and talking to the congressional leaders on the committees for the House Ways and Means and Senate Finance is just, that's one thing that keeps us with our seat at the table, so to speak. And as long as we have a seat at the table, then we can affect change for the positive for basically all EAs. but that's a huge member benefit as well that members get just by basically putting their 2 cents in. And then we have people that sit on ERSAC and different committees that are IRS committees and things with technology and all kinds of different things. And in doing that, I think we need to continue to push that, continue to do letters to the different folks that help us out. As a matter of fact, we just sent a letter to the Secretary of Agriculture about the farm deal where they were not including EAs as someone who could, certify or do the financials. So, we're always, those kinds of things, I think, keep us right at the forefront. And I think that's the biggest difference between us and other associations is that we are strictly, for EAs, but we also do all kinds of advocacy work for EAs. We do education stuff for EAs. So, just have a whole lot of neat things that you get as a benefit of membership. So strategically continue those things and keep trying to get our feet at the table of more and more things so that we can affect the change.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So when everyone was in the big group, when we finished the first question, I said, take a deep breath. We're here for round two. Your round two is going to start a little bit sooner. So for question number 2, you brought up advocacy and how that's a big part of what we do. For you personally, what new strategies do you have for strengthening our voice of advocacy as an organization?
One of the things I think we need to do, again, it's a strategic thing, is we need to go state by state by state. We don't really get into that much, but there's only 7 states that don't have a state income tax. So I think we really should kind of get our feet in the door at all the different levels for each state. And I'm not saying, like we need a big somebody for all of that, but it would be nice to see government relations, start to wean out and get a few more on the committee and then be able to help those folks with whatever they're needing at the state level, because, let's face it, state taxes are there too. So we've got to do all of it. So I think that's one of the things that we could really push to help with advocacy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Leslie. This gives us the opportunity to see what the different candidates are passionate about, and I appreciate you sharing that. Finally, I'll give you an additional 60 seconds for any closing remarks that you would like to have.
Basically, I think that I'm just now really hitting the ground running, so to speak. The first 2 years, I highly recommend to anybody who wants to pursue, a position as an officer or something like that. I definitely think you should do at least a 2-year term on the board to just kind of get all the knowledge that's there for you. And then once people do that, then I think, you're really just then really getting to where you can affect change by knowing, okay, I got this now. That's what that meant, or this is what that meant. So I think I'm just getting started here. So if you'll go ahead and re-elect me back, then we'll hit the ground running.
Thank you, Leslie. And I want to take the time to thank you because not only did you show leadership where somebody thought that you deserved to be nominated, you accepted the nomination and you had to go through the application process and the interview process. So we appreciate your time, even in that, and your commitment to NAEA. For those of you who are tuned in to watch the forum, I do want to remind you that voting begins on December 1st, which I do believe is Sunday. So don't think, oh, I gotta wait till Monday. Nope. On Sunday, you can begin voting. You will have from December 1st until December 15th. And if you're unsure on who to vote for, we do have the bios of the candidates available on the NAEA website, and this recording will be available. So if you need to go back and watch it again, you are absolutely able to do that. We thank you so much as members of NAEA for participating in this process.